with us. And you can warm round of applause. Okay, so you have the.
I have a mic.
Yes, this one. And I will give you this. Switch to your presentation. The first slide, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Stan and Alexis and Amandine, for including us again this year. We were part of No Code Week last year, and we had a blast. It was actually the first meetup that we organized with Tally, so it was really cool to meet everyone in real life. So yeah, we're happy to be here again this year. I'm going to share a bit more about our journey of building and scaling Tally. Alex already asked. I think most of the people know what we're doing, but I'll dive a bit deeper into that later on. All right, so yeah, my name is Marie. I was born and raised in Belgium. I have a background in B2B marketing, and I founded Tally together with Philip. Philip is sitting over here, you can wave. Philip comes from Bulgaria. He's a full stack engineer, has joined and built other startups before. The last one was Delta. If anyone is into cryptocurrencies, you might know it. It's a cryptocurrency portfolio tracker app that was acquired by eToro. So together we founded Tally. Tally is a really easy way to build and customize online forms and surveys. It looks a bit different than your average form builder. Our interface looks like a very intuitive text editor or like a Notion document. You can basically just start typing and insert blocks as you go and create any type of form in seconds, really. You can also sync your responses using integrations to other tools like Slack, Notion, Airtable. And you can do a lot more. Some of that Richard showed in our workshop this afternoon. Yeah, we're getting close to around 300,000 users worldwide using our tool. Amongst them, some companies that are here tonight as well. And we're, of course, really proud to have them in our customer portfolio. We won a Golden Kitty in the best bootstrapped category last year. And so, yeah, we're building in public, which means we kind of share everything, highs, lows, and our numbers. And we're doing all of this with a team of 4 people right now. I already introduced myself and Philip. Jonathan, he couldn't be here tonight, but he's in charge of customer success. And then Anit is here as well. She's helping us with all things content related and product marketing. Yeah, we're bootstrapped, which means we're self-funded. We haven't raised any money from investors, so we're an independent company. All right, so I'll share a bit more about why, and I know a lot of people are asking this question, like, why the hell would you build yet another form builder? There's already a lot. How did we launch it? How did we grow it? And what are some of the challenges that we're facing right now? I'm not going to share too many holiday pictures, no worries. But this is kind of where it all started, our joint startup journey. On a beach in Mexico. And so as you do on beaches in Mexico, we were dreaming about our perfect life or how our life should look like in the future. And basically, we wanted to become digital nomads, like everyone at the time. And so we were thinking, how can we do this? We came up with this startup idea, something completely different than Tally. We wanted to build a marketplace that connects small hotels with travel influencers. That was the idea at the time, with the idea to help those small hotels to promote their business by collaborating with influencers. We had this idea on the beach, but as it goes, we went back home and it kind of stayed an idea for a while. we went back to work. But then in 2019, Philip, his company got acquired by eToro. And that for us was kind of the moment where we thought, okay, maybe it's time to turn this idea into reality and maybe start working together. We actually made a form at the day, a Google form. It looked horrible. And we just said, like, if we can get 100 hotels to sign up to use this product, so if they would be interested in just using it, it didn't exist yet, then we would decide to build it. And so we did. We found those 100 hotels, I think, pretty fast. Philip started building an MVP. We pretty fast found some customers. So in 2020, I also decided to quit my job. And so together, we started on this journey of building a hotspot, it was called, our platform for influencers. Now, little did we know that 2020 was going to be the worst year in history to launch a startup in travel tech. Because, so I had quit my job, we rented out our apartment, and we were on our way to Bali, of course, as digital nomads or wannabe digital nomads at the time. We never made it. So we had a pit stop in Bangkok. We were there for a week. COVID hit. We had to fly back into lockdown. Quickly lost all our customers. And yeah, a few months later, I mean, in the beginning, we still thought, like, how long can this take? You know, pandemic. We know better now, of course. And we kind of gave ourselves like 1 year to try this whole startup adventure. By the summer, we realized, like, okay, we'll really need to pivot or do something else. And that's how we came up with Tally. And so we had used forms for Hotspot, but also in our previous jobs. And we always realized that, you know, everyone needs forms, so it's a huge market, but forms are really boring, right? Like, no one really enjoys making them. And they can also be really expensive, especially when you're like an indie hacker or you're just starting out. And so we used Google Forms, like I mentioned before. It's pretty powerful, it's free, but it just doesn't look great, you know, especially if you want to customize it, want to use the look and feel of your own brand. Then there's Typeform, looks great, but isn't super flexible and can get super expensive. So we thought, you know, we can do better. Why don't we try to make form building fun and free? And so at the same time, we also started using Notion to run our business. And we really loved how they kind of managed to make note-taking fun in the beginning when they started. They're also really a community-driven product. So we thought, like, okay, you know, what if Notion and Typeform would make a baby? That's kind of what Tally is. That's how one of our first users described it. I didn't invent it. But so yeah, this is Tally. As you can see, you can just type as you would do in a Notion document. And you can just basically insert blocks and really easily create any type of form. Now, what makes us different from all the other form builders out there? The first thing is that we're free. So we basically don't have volume-based pricing. We offer unlimited forms and responses for free. It's really simple. It's an intuitive interface. You don't need to sign up to try it out. You can just go to tally.so and get started. And you know, we really take pride in putting our users first. It helps that we're bootstrapped. There's no investors behind us trying to raise prices or anything like that. So we have a community-led roadmap, and we you know, try to keep our response time super short. So we really prioritize customer support in everything we do. So how did we launch Tally? We basically started with cold outreach. So we didn't really have any network in the no-code space, for example, as we do now. So we just went to Product Hunt and we looked for founders, creators that upvoted similar products, basically. Similar products can be no-code tools or form builders, and we would just start scraping those and just sending them, cold emails. Nothing sexy about that, but it kind of worked for us. We also joined Slack groups. That's also how we met no-code France community at the time, started engaging in conversations online, mainly Twitter and indie hackers, also Reddit. So every time someone asks a question about form builders, we would be there to answer. So that's kind of how we got the word out about Tally. We've been building in public since the start. So it's kind of our way to giving back, to the community, but it's also a bit of content marketing, right? So we share our journey as a small bootstrapped startup. And this is also interesting content for other startups that might also be interested in using Tally. Yeah, we share a lot, as I mentioned before. Our costs, we have a public roadmap, basically everything that we do you can find on our blog. So in March 2021, we kind of felt ready to share Tally with the world. And it was really like an instrumental moment in our growth. It was really like the first growth push that we needed. I think we had around 1,000 users at the time, and something like 300 euro MRR, something like that. We didn't even have like a pro paid plan when we started out. I think this was the first moment that we just got tons of positive feedback. We doubled our user base in one day, and we kind of felt like, okay, we are building something here that people want to use. We kind of starting to feel a bit of product market fit, and after that, organic growth kind of started to kick in. So a really important moment for us there. We've launched a couple of times now on Product Hunt, so we're becoming experts. If you're interested in how we get prepared, what do we do to make it successful, we also have like a public checklist available for you to use. So at the time we were here, right? And now the question is, how did we get here? This is a graph of our MRR right now. So we're here now, 3 years later. And so, yeah, I'll share a bit more about that right now. And so how does something like Tally.so succeed? I thought it might not be a good idea, but I thought it would be a good idea to use this Reddit thread that we found a couple of months ago. So yeah, a thread on Reddit, people analyzing / roasting the success of Tally. And so I'm going to use this as the storyline to share how we actually grow. It's the first time, bear with me, we'll see how it goes. I don't know if the people in the back can read it. You can, perfect. But I can read it out loud as well, because some things are pretty funny. All right, so I don't get it. How does something like Tally.so succeed, right? And a lot of people don't get it. So I think the important part here is, how can a form builder thrive in such a competitive market, given the abundance of similar products? So that's how it begins. And the first person answers. First time visiting, and it's immediately clear, it's about positioning. You need a neurotically deep picture of who you're making a product for. I can look at their site and tell you things like, their core user has a succulent on their desk, check. They like every teenage engineering post, but they don't make music, okay. And they prefer yerba mate over coffee, right? So he's only half teasing with that, but you can see that every single decision is made chasing down what resonates with those people, and that's great positioning. Is it true? Well, we don't have succulents on our desks. The other things might be true. But so, no, we don't have a neurotic deep picture of who we're making the product for. We kind of want to build a form builder that is accessible for everyone. But that doesn't mean that we don't think about positioning. And it's something that we also kind of have to do, right? To stand out in such a super crowded market, we cannot just do the same as everyone, especially because we're small. We don't have the marketing budgets that the big players have. So there's a couple of principles, and I showed them before, that we kind of religiously stick to. You know, that this Tally is free, it's simple, and we put our users first. And that kind of comes back in everything that we do. So positioning is important, but it's definitely not the main driver of our growth. So the conversation continues, and here it gets interesting. So there are people who will be repulsed by what their site does. Your average stuffy SME owner who wants Google Forms will have zero clue on earth what a notepad-looking thing is a form builder. But they don't care. They won't win in a saturated market by trying to win every visitor. Instead, they want to make the few visitors they win really love it. And so that's important because, as I mentioned before, we did launch in a really big market. And for us as a small team, it is easier to launch in a really large addressable market where you know there's demand. Every business needs forms at one point, right? So you know there's demand. And we only need to claim a really small percentage of that market to be successful. So the market size is definitely important when you launch a product like Tally. Conversation continues. Someone else says, honestly, it's a world-class form building experience. Tally's editor is so easy to use. The end result looks good. Tons of flexible usage options and so on. Name one, better, I'll wait. There's Typeform, but its editor is a bit of an overkill and not easy as Tally. And of course, we agree with this person. But what's important here is UX, right? And a lot of people choose Tally because of the form building experience. We try to keep it simple, easy to use, powerful, but still accessible for everyone. So that's definitely part of the success. Now, someone else asked, do you think they had to burn up a lot of front capital on ad spend to be able to compete against such a broad market? Now, we already know the answer, right? We're bootstrapped. We didn't raise any money, but they don't know that. And so it continues like this. Can't tell you if it was a lot, but infinitely less capital than if they didn't have that kind of positioning. And I won't read all of it. But basically, what it says, they don't even show up for me when I search form builder. Ouch, that's bad points for me. But they're the third result for Notion form builder. And that's true. Our editor has a lot of similarities to Notion. So we definitely, since the start, we're able to tap into the Notion community. We were lucky to have a lot of Notion ambassadors also supporting us and spreading the word about Tally. So Notion, definitely important. SEO as well, but it's something we haven't invested a lot in. We're actually just starting now to do that. And then, of course, chill. It's just Notion and Twitter community. Don't make marketing sound like rocket science. And indeed, it's true. It's not rocket science. We should not exaggerate as well. But what is it then? And someone else says it's a marketing plus the product. So I haven't been oversold to. And that's a big part of what makes the marketing feel different. It's not the typical tech bro over-promised, glitchy, icky flash in a pod crud, and so on. But so a couple of things that are like a recurring theme is that it's simple. It's really simple. And I think that's important to mention. The product is simple, but also the marketing and the messaging is pretty simple and straightforward. And that's just something that we personally prefer as well. We do not oversell. We do not upsell you on anything. Our language is pretty plain and straightforward. We only have one pricing point. There's nothing misleading in there. And so that's really, typical about Tally, I would say. So you might wonder, are existing form builders then that, hard to use? And this is where shrimp tikka masala finally finds the answer that we're looking for. I would say existing form builders have a lot of limitations for a free user, and Tally basically gives everything for free. And that's true, and that's actually the key ingredient of how Tally grows and how we manage to get to such a large user base with a very small team. So how does it work? If you've used Tally before, and especially if you're a free user of Tally, you know that all the forms carry a Made with Tally badge. So we kind of have the virality here baked in. And today, if you discover Tally, it's most likely because you filled out a Tally form yourself. So how does the flywheel look like? So basically, Tally is free. You don't even need an account to try it out. So you just go to the landing page, you start trying out a product. Only if you want to publish it, you actually need to create an account. So we give a lot of value and we give it very fast. And that definitely helps to spread the word. You know, happy customers are the best advertising. So they spread the word about Tally. That leads to more free users. And around 3% of those free users converts to Tally Pro. So it's product-led growth, right? It was mentioned already before in the first presentation. Our product is basically our main acquisition channel. All right, so what are some challenges that we're facing right now? There's a lot. I cannot name all of them because I realize I'm the last person standing between you and the bar and food in a bit. So I'll just pick one, and that's actually scaling customer support. That's also what a lot of people ask me, like, how do you serve such a large user base with a really small team? And so going back to the beginning, we've always been talking one-on-one with users. It could be via email, Twitter DMs. We had a Slack channel. And this has really been instrumental in kind of shaping the journey of Tally, because we always had really a direct communication line with our users. We could capture user needs. We could translate that into our roadmap. But of course, at one point, with 300,000 people, the number of support tickets became a bit too high. And so we had to make some changes. The first one was improving our help center. So we actually use Notion as a CMS, and we completely rebuild our help center from the ground up with the idea of never having to answer a question twice. Now, we're not really there yet, but it definitely helps. So we make sure that we have top-notch documentation with the help of Anita, just to reduce, the load of customer support. We hired our first team member, which was Richard at the time, to help us scale, and Richard can testify to this, we did a lot of things that didn't scale in the beginning. We would probably do that again. But of course, at one point, you kind of have to implement processes. So we hired our first team member. We introduced a feedback board. So actually, until that moment, we were keeping track of all feature requests manually in a Notion database. Richard will remember that as well. And why did we do that? It's kind of because we were afraid to lose information or to lose context, about those feature requests. Like, why does someone actually want this feature? Someone can ask something, but maybe mean something else. So that information was really important to us. We couldn't keep up with that as well, unfortunately. So we now have just a public feedback board where you can drop your feature requests and upvote them. We had to streamline incoming support tickets. Now, this also kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but for us, it was really important that people could just contact us directly. So everyone could just email philip@tally.so. Don't do this now. And we would reply within, as fast as we could. Of course, that doesn't scale as well. So we actually use Tally to create a form. It's packed with logic, and it kind of leads you based on your responses to the right help articles, and only if you really don't find the response. And of course, we're there to help. We had a Slack group, or we have a Slack group with around, I think, 3,000 users. it's really our first, and most passionate users that are in there. Unfortunately, we kind of envisioned it to become a community like yours. It didn't turn out that way. It kind of became a 24/7 just help chat, and it started to put a lot of pressure on us. We have people from all around the world using it, so that means that day and night we were basically getting questions in the Slack group. Also, kind of, taking a lot of our time. Of course, we couldn't really build or ship or market the product anymore. So we made the difficult decision to close it for new users. So we still have the Slack group, but not everyone can join it anymore for now. We had to set boundaries. So we have, for example, this custom CSS feature. If someone doesn't know how to code and they wanted to use it, we would literally just write the code snippets for them. That's something that, of course, also doesn't scale, so we cannot do that anymore. So some boundaries. And then lastly, we also launched an expert program. So if we cannot help you out, if things become too complex, then you can consult one of our experts and basically hire them to build the forms for you. So that's it for the scaling challenges for today. To end with our friends from Reddit, was it luck or just clever timing? For us, it was really 3 simple things. Is the fact that Tally is free, that it's simple, and that we put our users first. Thank you.